Hello, everybody. Welcome back to Sharp Edge News TV. My name is Ola, coming to you live from my Empire Pro Studios. We have a fantastic show lined up for you today. Welcome, welcome, welcome. Do me a favor, hit the like button, share, subscribe, follow, touch your notifications, turn on your notifications, tell everybody we're live. We're about to dive into some trendy stories around the world. Shout out to everybody that's watching us live. Shout out to everybody that watched the replay. We appreciate you as always. Ladies and gentlemen, please join me in welcoming a distinguished figure who bridges the worlds of journalism and tradition with remarkable grace. It's not just the publisher and editor in chief of SharpEdgeNews.com, but it also holds the revered title of High Chief, known as the Odokwetu of Ayede Ogbese, Akure North Local Government Area, Ondo State. This is a man who makes an impact both in media and a respected leader in his community. Let's give a warm round of applause for the extraordinary Oladimeji Abitogun. Welcome, sir.
Thank you very much, Ola. So nice to be back, and a sense of appreciation to our audience all over the world for making us the preferred media choice at this time. Of course, it's the weekly, week in, week out tonic that you need. And yeah, that's it. Always, as ever, good to be back.
Absolutely. Welcome back. That is I Chief Oladimeji Abitogun. Without any further ado, we're just going to dive right in. I'm sure you have a SharpEdgeNews.com special for us today. Is that right?
Oh, yes.
All right.
Thank you indeed.
Let's have it. Let's have
This
it.
this week, yeah, let's say that the world is uh, catching his breath after um, the political earthquake of the past week, exactly 7 days ago. It was decision day in America, and when America sneezes, the entire world catches cold. So here we are now, expectant of a new presidential situation, at least for the next 4 years. It looks like an uncharted territory. 1939, America was at the crossroads, whether to join troubled Europe on the open call for the agenda of the strongmen in Europe then. Of course, you know who we're talking about. But it was a precipice, from which America pulled back. This time around, certain people felt that 1979 situation should be revisited. And in an astonishing way, democracy gave them a choice. And so, whichever way the pendulum swings, this next 4 years, we would see if a wise choice was made. But there can't be any science about knowing precisely what the immediate future holds. We can't begrudge anybody. Democracy is always and has ever been the best ideal of a governance so far that we know in the world in which we live. Whether there will be a situation in which the world will come to an end at some point and then something would evolve, another utopia, but this is what we prefer at the moment, and then let the whole world swing. Now, we are anticipating another decision moment in a small state. Relatively small. It is bigger than a lot of countries that we know all over the world. Ondo State, Southwest Nigeria, it will be decision time this next weekend, Saturday precisely. It's going to be a grand battle for governorship shift, change of baton amongst the contestants that are almost 17 of them, 17 or 18 of them. Somebody must emerge winner. As it is now, there are views from outside the state and people trying to stoke all kinds of theories and conclusions. All we know is that a winner would emerge on that day. And what everybody is thinking of at the moment is how Nigeria will respond, or Africa in general will respond to the moment that we are about witnessing all over the world. Would Nigeria be a band A, band B, band C country? The way it is said when it comes to public electricity consumption in Nigeria, I mean, stratification, outright class consciousness about distribution of energy and consumption of energy in the country. You want 18 hours of power, you may be seeing 18 hours plus of power, of electricity in a day in Nigeria, you would be classified as band A. So that is exactly what we are trying to use as a representation, a microcosm for how would Africa be treated with the new Donald Trump situation. Well, Africa has always looked towards the mountains, the hills, and help doesn't seem to be coming from sincere quarters most of the times. So would Nigeria or would Africa in general or the black world occupy band A, band B, or C in the scheme of things with the new or the incoming, the second coming of Mr. Donald J. Trump as the president of America? Honestly, the events of his first 4 years, 2016 to 2021, did little justice to that. And who knows whether whatever happened in this last Tuesday's the presidential election, whatever the talking points were for Mr. Donald Trump were just meant to scare people or to just put people on edge. Would he go overboard to deport 11 million illegal aliens from the United States of America? Would we witness a situation in which the entire middle-level career of American civil service, federal civil service, will be purged and infused with people that are idealistic or ideologically committed to Mr. Donald Trump? Questions. But Nigeria seems to be having in place a robust response already. The country is making a fundamental and radical shift from an economy that is driven totally by oil, that is crude oil, petroleum products. Now, the country is embracing its destiny. There is hardly any natural mineral deposit that you would not find in Nigeria. Gold, bauxite, all kinds of precious metals and stones all over the country. So now, instead of allowing illegal miners that have turned the business of poaching and mining all kinds of precious minerals in the country, Nigeria is directly getting involved and calling on countries like South Africa and even domestic investors to show interest in that sector. And you will be surprised that whether you're taking it all the way from Zamfara through Niger down to the southwestern state of Osun, you find gold in huge deposits. So Nigeria is stretching its warm invite to everyone outside the world to come over. It's a fundamental shift that, well, Africa can begin to look inward, diversify its economy. Will there be enough security for all this to thrive? Not fully well that people were just flying all kinds of contraptions in the name of choppers, that is helicopters, to the country to lift things directly without giving anything in return to the landowners or the home state and the federal government of Nigeria. All these arrangements would have to be worked out. And as we look at events of the world, maybe Africa, indeed Nigeria, will not have to look towards nowhere other than within for the necessary salvation. That is the optimistic situation that we serve. That is the menu that we will prefer for everybody. That everybody should chew on at the moment. But we know, in spite of the contending situations in Nigeria in terms of its geopolitical and cultural differences, this time around, Mr. Bola Tinubu has again considered the choice of attending the controversial Organization of Islamic Countries, OIC. Remember, that was one economic or religious bloc that plundered Nigeria, a country that should be secular, into much riots in the late 1980s. There Bola Tinubu goes again. He's a Southwesterner. He's supposed to be a liberal Muslim, but remember, his vice president is a conservative northern Muslim, the Muslim ticket thing. So what does Nigeria stand to gain from all this questionable mingling on the international scene? The future will tell. But for the moment, let us save our thoughts, our prayers, and wish that the world we live in will be a safer place. Thank you. Our report.
Thank you so much. Thank you so much. I'm going to leave that at that like that. Again, do us a favor, hit the like button, share, subscribe, and follow. And right now, we're about to get into some trendy stories around the world. We'll be right back. All right, let's watch this video. We'll be right back.
This whole area, as you can see, let's turn around, come and see. Where do you expect all these people to go to? This place that have been demolished is not anywhere on the road. Please, one house. It's not anywhere on the road or beside the road. Look at the faces of these people. I hate to stereotype, but it is what it is at the end of the day. What will happen after this demolition is terrorism, stealing, snatching of phones, killing people to collect things from their hands, because these people will be desperate. At a time like this, where the economy is not favoring anybody, people are suffering, the prices of things are going up, and you are demolishing. Why can't you try another pattern by actually looking for people in your team to look for a pattern to create housing for these people, even if it's a cheaper housing, before you demolish?
This holiday, get more gaming and a lot more.
All right, hold on 1 second. We'll pay some bills. Okay, we'll be right back. Okay, now
Putting them on the stage to
I'm gonna play Deji
and then going
Adeyanju.
back
You have
to
something to
Burundi,
say?
where they are kidnapping. Men, these grandfathers, their parents are directly affected. You can also see that one of the victims was shot. He has camera. So by starting from
All right. So what you're looking at is essentially the demolition that's ongoing in Abuja, spearheaded by the present Federal Capital Territory Minister WIKE. I wanted to know if you have something to say today this week, because
Oh,
he's saying it to continue. So they call it the demolition rampage at the moment. Is this justifiable? Does the state have the power to do this or the right to do this the way they're doing it right now? What VDM, Very Dark Man, was saying right there is that a lot of people are being displaced, and he's asking a big question: are they going back to the north, or they're supposed to just be floating around? Thoughts, sir?
thank you very much. You will remember that we discussed the cabinet reshuffle that President Bola Ahmed Tinubu carried out a few, like 2 weeks ago. We discussed it here. And I said, for me, that was not an exercise that you would describe as substantial, other than the removal of the troubled Minister of Humanitarian Services. Remember, I said the fact that Jason Wike was retained or is still serving in the cabinet, and maybe some people genuinely decided to bestow on him the honor of being described as one of the most hardworking ministers in the cabinet of the government of the day in Nigeria, or maybe they were incentivized to describe him as such. I said, for me, the fact that he had been a destabilizing element in the administration, whether you consider the trouble or the pain, the son he represents in the leadership of Rivers State, personified, that leadership that is personified or led by Governor Sim Fubra or Fubara. I said, that is enough distraction and headache, and something that that had the potential of setting Nigeria back almost 60 years. Remember, we were talking of the events that led to the scuttling of the first republic, the first civilian democracy in Nigeria. And with Yesen Wike carrying on as if nobody, or there should be no guardrails in the conduct of public affairs. I said it should not have been retained in the administration. The same conviction I have on the way he felt, being kept in the administration the way he would now signal the fact that he works for Mr. President, that is President Bola Tinubu, is to go on this craze about demolition. Yes, at conception, Abuja was supposed to rank with some of the best capitals in the world, say like Brasilia, say like DC, say like Cape Town, and so on. And of course, you know, South Africa has 3 capitals, But in this case, maybe like Cape Town. And the vision was Abuja would be well planned. When Babangida hurriedly moved the seat of power to Abuja after the Gideon Oka coup of the late 1990s, he was doing a good job of making sure that order was made out of chaos. It was almost like, the morning of creation for the for the federal capital then in Abuja. And I remember when some of us started coming to Abuja, first visiting in the late 1980s and then settling there mid-1990s towards the end of 1990s. It was the most beautiful place to be able to live in. Security, population-wise. During public holidays, Abuja used to be like a ghost city, and we enjoyed the place. Night time was fantastic. Daytime security was assured. I remember conducting a journalist from New York Times, Mr. Norimitsu Onishi, around Abuja, I think around 1998, and I was showing him the things that were in place that were not even conspicuous to the ordinary citizen, how Abacha was keeping the city safe. The situation is no longer the same today. So instead of concentrating effort on the safety of that city, the citizens, going after crimes and what have you, what this man is doing is to escalate crime in the city. Because when you attack citizens, you do not provide alternatives in terms of accommodation, quality living standard, and then you want to play to the gallery to sign stuff. You know, Jason WIKE is suffering from this military hangover. Although he wants to, anyway, he's a master election rigger. He wants to pretend that he's working, and that, they have a mandate, which is not even clear-cut. And then he embraces the tactics of the military. You must destroy something, you must put things down to be seen as being tough. The days when people were talking of, who built this gather? Or action, son-in-law. Action. Are you listening, Ola? So.
Yes, I am.
This is the situation in which we find ourselves. Honestly, Nyesom Wike is an ugly face of the current government in Nigeria. He has nothing to lose. Number one, he is a bat. You can neither call him a bird. Now, would you call him an animal that walks on four hands on the ground? So he's so colorless. He lacks character. If he likes, he can destroy the administration of APC. But again, he cannot. He can continue to play the mole within the rank of PDP. This is the thing. He's so amorphous, completely without form or shape, politically. He's so disruptive, which is why he does not care whether people are thrown into grinding poverty or not. So I share the sentiments of people who are really up there. With the kind of the mindset he had when the End Bad Governance team was staged all over Nigeria in August. Although the media arm of APC will say, it was not a nationwide thing. Whether it was a nationwide protest or not, there was that protest in Nigeria. His intention was that the military, the police will be brought out. Already he was already putting emblems and trying to gaslight people by describing them as armed robbers, criminals, this and that. So, no flavor that the entire world is watching. And this is where I even want Nigeria to really show itself worthy. The world does not know where where moral situation and leadership will come from this time around. In treating the citizens right, Nigeria should let everybody know that it has this self-cleansing mode. It is capable of addressing its issues, its situations in a way that is completely homespun and then contain and curtail the excesses and the craze of people like Yeson Wike. That said, that is how Nigeria would serve notice on the world that, okay, there is supposed to be a vacuum in the global order. Yes, the world does not know where things will go. But now, we will treat ourselves right. We are not looking for anybody to report us to the international community, because whether we die or we kill ourselves or people die of hunger or outright silence or out of the sheer wickedness of our leaders, the world that is emerging will not really give a hoot. They will not care. So Nigeria must care about itself. Africa must care about its people. That is what must be the halting cry that must put Yeson Wike to a definitive stop. It is too much a distraction and an headache concerning the existential issues of the Nigeria of today.
All right, great. Thank you so much for that. Please join the conversation in the comment section. Let us know your thoughts about that. Hit the like button, share, subscribe, and follow. We have some other trendy stories. We'll be right back.
You took out
All right, great. Watch this video. This is Donald Trump teasing the presidential bid during the 1988 Oprah show. Watch this real quick.
You took out a full-page ad in major U.S. newspapers last year criticizing U.S. foreign policy. What would you do differently, Donald?
I'd make our allies, forgetting about the enemies you can't talk to so easily. I'd make our allies pay their fair share. We're a debtor nation. Something's going to happen over the next number of years with this country, because you can't keep going on losing $200 billion, and yet we let Japan come in and dump everything right into our markets and everything. It's not free trade. If you ever go to Japan right now and try to sell something, forget about it, Oprah. Just forget about it. It's almost impossible. They don't have laws against it. They just make it impossible. They come over here, they sell their cars, their VCRs, they knock the hell out of our companies. And hey, I have tremendous respect for the Japanese people. I mean, you can respect somebody that's beating the hell out of you, but they are beating the hell out of this country. Kuwait, they live like kings. The poorest person in Kuwait, they live like kings. And yet they're not paying. We make it possible for them to sell their oil. Why aren't they paying us 25% of what they're making? It's a joke.
This sounds...
That was Donald Trump about 35 years ago. Listening to Donald Trump today has won the presidential bid again for the second time, in spite of all odds. Listen to this. Hold on 1 second.
And now it's going to reach a new level of importance, because we're going to help our country heal.
This 78 years old Donald Trump now.
Needs help, and it needs help very badly. We're going to fix our borders. We're going to fix everything about our country. And we made history for a reason tonight, and the reason is going to be just that. We overcame obstacles that nobody thought possible, and it is now.
All right, so listen to Kamala Harris concede a whole day after losing the battle to Donald Trump. Listen to this.
My heart is fat. So let me say, my heart is full today. My heart is full today, full of gratitude for the trust you have placed in me, full of love for our country, and full of resolve. The outcome of this election is not what we wanted, not what we fought for, not what we voted for, but hear me when I say, the light of America's promise will always burn bright.
All right, so that's a whole day after she lost the battle. But I must say, this video has been floating around for the past 24 hours or so, and I thought it was a brand new video, but apparently it's a video that was published about 1 year ago. one of the plans that Donald Trump has. I thought you will find this interesting, so I'm going to play one last clip. Then I want to hear your thoughts about everything, what your analysis has been about the last week or two. Listen carefully.
Body for As part of our new credentialing body for teachers, we will promote positive education about the nuclear family, the roles of mothers and fathers, and celebrating rather than erasing the things that make men and women different and unique. I will ask Congress to pass a bill establishing that the only genders recognized by the United States government are male and female, and they are assigned at birth. The bill will also make clear that Title IX prohibits men from participating in women's sports, and we will protect the rights of parents from being forced to allow their minor child to assume a gender which is new and an identity without the parents' consent. The identity will not be new, and it will not be without parental consent. No serious country should be telling its children that they were born with the wrong gender, a concept that was never heard of in all of human history. Nobody's ever heard of this, what's happening today.
All right. Your turn. I want to hear your thoughts.
Yeah, let me take it from the last comment. Of course, he is right concerning that. He is right concerning that. But our point of departure is this. Let me also give you some credit for not being in denial like some of us. You were pointing out certain issues of concern during the campaign. You know, the campaign is over now. Everybody is settling down to the business of transition and proper governance. But you were really right in your early call that it looked like black males or a sizable portion of the black population of this country and Hispanics may turn against Democrats. And I said, well, it will be because maybe the generation that suffered the things our forebears witnessed in this country, maybe they were already forgetting. And do not forget the words of that American sheikh that said, eternal vigilance is the price that one must pay for liberty. So it's been time, and you know, people got so lethargic, and under their watch, whatever happens to freedom now would only remain something that must become a subject of pragmatic observation. And what I mean about this is that it is going to be a scientific process. It's an uncharted territory. And wherever, that goes, we would follow. But how did Donald Trump win? Look at the margin of victory for Democrats and their loss this year. Their margin of victory in 2020, and then the margin of loss this year. Kamala Harris, as at the time the whole thing was called, Tuesday, Wednesday morning, was garnering 60-something million votes, as against 71 million plus for Donald Trump. So you would see that it's not as if Donald Trump had substantial gain over the 70 million plus. Was I talking of thousands or millions? 70 million plus that he had in 2020. Are we following each other? But, hello, Ola. Hello?
I am listening. Sorry, I'm listening. I'm listening attentively.
Yes, but on the contrary, the votes for Democrats or the Democratic Party shrank by a substantial 13 million. Did you see the disparity there?
Yeah.
Donald Trump was able to record a spike of 1 million plus. He was able to hold down his primary constituency and then shipped away bits of votes from the places that were considered deep democratic territories.
Right.
That's how this was done. So under the Democrats took their eyes off the ball. And you cannot talk of total doom for any man, yet you cannot say that any man is good. I mean, this is the way things are. Now, we go back to another important factor that drove the vote and opinion of people. This is one thing nobody has touched on. And as a journalist, I went to town, interacted with people at in unusual places, especially the public marts, the like Walmart, like just think of anywhere that I ran into people. Number one, there was subdued celebration amongst Republicans, in spite of the fact that they got a definitive mandate. But you know what? Amongst African Americans, their anger is in the fact that during the campaigns, not much was said about Kamala Harris' father. It was, yes, and they looked at it as an established pattern of disrespecting black males in America. Not just black males. There were white people too saying that they've been made to pay so much in terms of alimony and child support in this country by women who were virtually lying through their teeth to take undue advantage of the system. Yes, that during the campaigns, women rolled out the drums, which is, it is nothing bad. You look at major religions of the world, particularly Islam here, compels it on people to honor their mother. You see the kind of honor that is conferred on Mary by Catholics all over the world. You read through the Bible, you saw how Jesus Christ was reluctant to go against the plea of his mother during the marriage that was the first miracle that was recorded in Cana of Galilee. The place of women is secured. But what men have noticed in America, particularly black males, what they are saying is that it's not as if black males are never there for their children. Of course, it's a matter of legacy, a matter of culture, tradition, that the man is the head of the house. But here, consistently, nobody discussed the events that led to the breakdown of the marriage between Kamala Harris' mother and his father. And her father.
And a apparently black father.
Black fathers, what they all go through in this country. That is what really drove not just black males, amongst males generally in America. They said America is ready for this, but that fathers are literally thrown out of the homes by women who just who are enjoying the narrative that they are always the ones who raise children by themselves, which is not true. A major consideration there. Now going forward, what does this portend for the country? We never could tell, particularly the appeal to sentiments about fascism, the appeal to other outrightly extreme viewpoints that drove the campaign. And then you see the messages that have been trafficked everywhere. People don't really believe that those messages are exchanging between compatriots, that is fellow Americans, that some people who are not part of us in this country, some alien influences may be the ones sending insidious and incendiary messages, trying to instigate race riots all over the place. For example, people saying, "Oh, I mean, text messages landing on phones saying, oh, have you made a choice of the plantation you want to go to, whether you'll be picking cotton or
Wow.
growing peanuts and all those things?" Trying to scare people. But of course, I listened to a message yesterday at All Nations Breakthrough Church in Kansas City. Honestly, one of the powerful and compelling messages I've ever had in my life. The preacher was quoting from the second chapter of the book of James, how nobody should embrace partiality, and then that dovetailing to outright denunciation of discrimination, sentiments that would dishonor God, and that people should shun bringing politics into the house of God, and no party could say they get it right. No leader anywhere will say they have a totally bright programs or whatever for the for the citizenry of any country at any given time. But that those things should not be brought into the house of God to cause division. Things that were witnessed between Hellenists and Hebrews during the time of the early church, when issues of discrimination in the sharing of stuff to, between widows of some of these gangling blocks within the early church, and that discrimination cannot be right. And that is the message of love.
So discrimination against for specifically what was that insinuating?
Yeah, first people will start about denunciation and demand for deportation of illegal aliens.
Okay.
Not looking at their contribution on the farms and wherever they are giving their best to make sure that they hand a credible pathway to citizenship in this country, and what they contribute in securing the economy. You throw all 11 million of them out, where does that land America? A discrimination issue there. When you take them out again, you want to begin now to talk of, oh, this is white, this is non-white. Even within the non-white minority blocks, you are going to break it down. Is it Nigerian? Is it Kenya? Is it South African? And then within the Nigerians, you will be talking of Igbo, Hausa, this and that. When you break it down to Yoruba, you'll be talking, is it Ekiti? Is it Akoko? Is it Akure? Is it Ijebu? Is it Oyo? Is it this and that? That these things, they never end. Whenever you say you are embracing this, at some point, okay, we are left with a white population or this and that. That again will break down to smaller blocks that would, thin out to family units. Would you still not find those sentiments? This is, discussing the dynamics of discrimination to its barest minimum and how evil it can be. And that this country does not need that.
I want to ask you this question, right?
Yes.
I want us to throw it to the audience to join the conversation.
Right.
Who is to blame? In about 30 seconds, who is to blame for losing that battle to the Republicans over the last week?
The lethargy, the complacency of the Democrats. I told you, compared with the last election, complacency. They took things for granted. Their eyes were off, and they were really hungry. And really, I'm not really happy with people like this senator with his extreme liberal agenda that is already looking for the man with the loud voice, the former presidential candidate.
Who's that? What's his name? Schumer? What's his name?
No, not Schumer. The Democrat, the man with loud voice that is seen as the
Bernie Sanders.
Yeah, Bernie Sanders. He's
Okay.
already apportioning blames. This is why this moment of accountability.
Well, I'm
But you
automatically
cannot.
going to disagree with Bernie Sanders because everything is all his suggestions never really account for how who's going to pay for
Oh
it.
yes, but maybe we are on the same page on that, because really what people were even saying is that pandering to his own leaning within the Democratic Party was part of the reason why the party lost so badly.
Yeah.
So when they come out like this, honestly, the woman gave everything she could to the campaigns. And
She
so
did,
now,
but for me,
yes,
when I saw that last video bit that I played about the family unit,
oh yes,
I couldn't
remember,
help but
you know
imagine
that
the worst.
you know that issue itself was addressing the personal angst and anger of Elon Musk.
Right, exactly.
Touch on
We
it.
mentioned that, right? So I
Yeah.
couldn't help but assume.
For example, I ran into a guy who was almost going to label me because of our shows there. He watches us keenly. Yeah, probably is watching us now, white American, and he said, "Oh, you are Libra, this and that." It's almost like pointing Peter out. And you remember in the Garden of Caiaphas, the chief priest, when Jesus was on trial. Oh, we saw you. You were also one of those disciples, and Peter was almost going to. No, I said, so if you describe me a liberal, I'm not going to play the game of Peter here. If you describe me a liberal, what does liberal mean? I said, what does it mean to be a liberal person? Yes, I won't be an extremist. And if I see the evil of fanaticism and extremism that is showing out Nigeria, my land of birth, and then you say that is what? No, I am a joyful liberal. And what it means is that I'm not for any extreme agenda. But let me tell you, as somebody of African descent, before you begin to label me, you begin to give me all these mischaracterizations that you are gladly putting on people. Is it thinkable for me to embrace homosexual agenda? Of course not.
Right.
So where do I agree with
deal.
typical? Yes, well, where do I culturally, traditionally, where do I agree? Where is the meeting point between me and?
So to be clear for me, it's not about the homosexual. It's about the changing of minors and allowing minors remotely, in any remote possible ways, influencing them with the okaying them that they can just suddenly change their reality.
Yes, that's the total picture of what I was giving to you about the anger of black males and generally males in America. Oh, you shower all the encomiums, the accolades on murders. Where is the relevance of fathers? And these fathers, they pay through the nose to support their families. They are okay. The Ebanga situation in Equatorial Guinea. They are doing everything, but their wife really wants to just fantasize and get so greedy and launch after the strange man out there. Men also behave irresponsibly at times. This is just, but the anger of males generally here now is that Kamala Harris campaign did not do much, did not give much credit to her father.
I'm gonna say this. I'm gonna give you the floor, sir. After the campaign and the election, and watching that video, a big fear overwhelmed me of what if she had won? How far would they go? Particularly with allowing, extreme progressive, like to what extent?
I do not even know if those things are progressive, really, but
that's what they categorize them as.
Yes, quote and unquote.
I'm talking about they, them, he, him. To what extent were they gonna go with allowing that craziness? I consider those craziness.
Yes, the check that would have naturally come into place. Because we're talking of social evolution here. the change
Correct.
that would naturally come into, that would kick in, would have been personal salvation. This is my truth, and it is irreducible. Nobody can push me around. This is what I stand for. You can go for your own thing that is driving you. Me, I'm not for that.
No, but
You get the point?
unfortunately, that encroaches our children and how
Yes,
they educate them in school.
And that is, you see, the crisis is already here, and everybody is tasting of it already. I mean, hardly would your child want to sit down and understand that you are talking as a father or as a mother. And some people are so licentious, you know, they take things for granted that, oh, anything goes with their children. And you see the kind of dysfunctionality that is occurring in several homes, particularly African immigrant homes in this country. You'll be shocked. And you are wondering that, oh, yes, you say this, I mean, somebody is doing this against your block, but are you not, by way of identity, are you not promoting confusion, I mean, confused state of mind as progressivism? So these are the things that they can roll back on. But in terms of, you see, in terms of, how do I look at it now? Protection of economic values and what have you.
Right.
You know, I think the Democrats have a way of balancing their acts, making sure that budgets do not run haywire.
You mean they had a way? She spent $1 billion. He spent $250 million on this campaign.
Well, that is what is stated. How about what was spent under the table? That crowd, that conviction did not just come.
No, but we also know that Trump gets free coverage. We've known that for
all those things should be quantified.
Well, it's still free. He managed to figure out how to get it for free.
Yeah, the complicity of the legacy media, the institutional media organizations is there. But like I said, he is the one that's won the prize now. He has the crown. Let us see if he's going to run an imperial presidency or
Lastly, before we run into our last trendy story of the day, right? I heard this from a guy called Patrick Bet-David. He runs a podcast called the PVD Podcast, and he talked about. He said he spoke to a person. I forgot the person now. I said we all go through a phase with our fathers. First phase is you idolize him. Second phase you demonize him, and third phase you humanize him. Do you see a correlation between how Americans see Donald Trump in that?
Certainly not.
Certainly. But you see that in your own father, though, right? You see that in your own father.
You say what?
You see that in your own father, my grandfather. You could see that. Idolize, idolize, demonize, humanize.
I never seen it. I never. There was no point at which I saw him as a demon. Because
it's not about seeing him as a demon. No, that's not the point.
No, you said at some point one could demonize him.
Idolize, demonize, but that's different from seeing him as a demon. That's two different things. Context.
It could be in a given way. Well, the truth of the matter is that let me give you a scenario. At the time,
I think you're still demonizing Trump. Is the point here?
You think me or some people?
You and some people are still stuck.
Not me. No, not me. Did you hear me when I said he has the crown now? He has the victory.
So are you humanizing him or idolizing him?
Just wait.
Okay.
He has a mandate. If we all believe in democracy, you give him the opportunity of serving out his term, and then you can rate his legacy. What I'm saying is, if we would see if he's going to run an imperial presidency or a democratic presidency. You know, he is an actor. Give that to him. He's an actor. All those things he said may not really, may not really be his, it may not be his orthodoxy. This is what I'm telling you.
So I think American as a whole, as a general, they voted him because they humanized him.
Not as a general. No, not the generality of Americans. I've told you.
I mean, we have to still respect that they actually voted.
Majority, yes, we must contextualize it. Majority of Americans voted him in. That's
what I meant. That's what I meant. And so most majority, including all the people you won away from the Democrats, they were in a space where they were like, okay, we don't know this lady. Well, this guy has been convicted 34 times. Let's just vote him in. That's what happened here.
Hear me out. Hear me out. I do not know of any Democrats that converted to a side other than Bob Kennedy Jr.
Mm-hmm.
Did you see the statistics I gave?
Yeah, I did.
Almost 13 million Democrats did not vote. Substantially,
for the first time, did he not win the popular vote?
For the first time, yes, he won it. But what we are saying,
a big deal.
Just wait. What we are saying is this: you look at the turnout of Democrats, how Democrats voted the last time. There is a deficit of 13 million between 2020 and 2024. So it's not as if we took Democrats' stuff. The Democrats were complacent. This is the problem.
This was a landslide, okay?
Great.
That's the reality we need to face here, and that's a big deal.
Great. But let us also consider one thing. If if Donald Trump had been crushed this way, do you think he would not raise hell? So I told you the other day.
That's one of the things that they actually appreciate about him. They know he's nasty, but they know what they're dealing with. They know the other people are nasty, but they're never really sure what they're dealing with. That's what we're dealing with today.
This is my call on this. Like I predicted, if he won and he has won, I said it will be a referendum on Americans and its values itself.
Okay, we got 4 years to figure that out.
And this is where we are.
That's where we are.
But let us give him a chance. He has a mandate. Let us give him a chance.
All right.
Simple.
Great. Thank you. Thank you for being a good sport. Please do me a favor, hit the like button, share, subscribe, follow, join the conversation. Let's know what your thoughts are. Please, 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 in the comment section, what do you think the next 4 years is going to do? Are you saying let's give him a chance, or you can see that this is going to be a bunch of tweet war again, especially now that we know that Elon Musk is at the top of affairs at the Twitter X box? Join the conversation. We'd like to know what you think. We'll be right back. All right, we're going to watch these two short clips, and I want to hear what your thoughts are. This is Peter Obi versus Pastor Iren. Vigils must go. Let's listen in.
It's attractive, yes. It's attractive, yes. Politics and church. You need to dismantle it. And we're going to turn night vigil into night shifts so people can be productive. I go to church, I believe in God. Yes. But we cannot have people Monday to Friday be in church morning and night. No. If I go from here now to my house, the only signboard you see is signboard of churches. You go to the east, it's burials. That's not the country. If you go to any other country, you see products.
All right, we're going to listen to the second one by Pastor Iren. This was going viral because of this clip today, so let's listen to it.
Every day on the internet, you see someone say, instead of spending all this time in church, having vigils every day. Which church do you know that has vigils every day? Some might have vigils every day for a season, but no church has vigils every day. Please don't get me wrong. I have profound respect for the person who said this. It is part of my privileged roles in Christ and in the body of Christ to set the record straight on some things like this. If churches don't have vigils every day, how often is too often? twice a week, thrice a week. Do you realize if you saw someone who goes to the gym every day, you won't think he's wasting economic hours? Don't you see that the bias is hidden? If you saw someone who hung out with his friends thrice a week, you say it's good work-life balance. But someone who goes to church thrice a week, we say we need to be more productive as a nation. First and foremost is the gaslighting for me. Nobody who has been in government, past or present, has the right to make such a comment. For God's sake, if the people don't go to church, have you provided jobs for them? Where are the jobs? I say this with all sense of humility. Please don't get me wrong. Sometimes the level of output in my life in 1 month, if it was someone else's highlight for a whole year, you've tried. If all you do in a year is to release an album, you've tried. You have to understand, I have like 5 full-time jobs. I believe in productivity, but please don't let anyone talk down on your devotion, your faith in the Lord. Protect it with all you have. Don't let anyone talk you out of your covering. Prayer got you here. Stick to it. Oh.
All right.
Every day.
That was Pastor Iren and Peter Obi. And I thought I should get your thoughts on VIGILS must go, VIGILS or not. What's your thoughts, please?
my thought would be very brief.
Okay.
Either ways, I've advanced very strong arguments, but the reality is that Peter Obi did not go out of line when he called out the the way the Nigerians are turning their backs on productive economic activity, elevating things spiritual above that which would keep the nation stable and in surplus. That's number one. Iron too, it's right to the extent that nobody would say precisely how much time is enough time to be at church, and other things is conversing. But what the boom that church business has become, watch it. After Fela Anikulapo sang Suffering and Smiling. You remember that song?
Mm-hmm.
Suffering and Smiling and all that. So, objectively viewed, it will look, and Pastor Iren is in denial about the reality of what churches and mosques do today in Nigeria.
Mm-hmm.
Yes. He is I don't know him like that, but with the comments I've listened to, he's in denial.
Absolutely. I agree.
Even when churches brought missionary, the Christian Missionary Society, CMS, when Roman Catholic Mission brought education to Nigeria. You know how expensive it was? What has the church, in terms of in terms of economic transformation and guarantee, what has the church really done for Nigerian people for free? But you see Nigerian right before the generation of my father, your grandfather, during harvest Thanksgiving, they will bring farm produce. Those things will be auctioned on the block during bazaar. The proceeds totally will be spent on churches and what have you. Nobody spared a thought for the feeding of the poor in the community. You go to any village, no matter how remote, the most beautiful house there, we are not jealous of any pastor, and we are Christians. But what we are saying is that these things must be balanced. For example, in America, since you are paid hourly and you need to pay your bills, you know it's going to be, an avoidable luxury for you to go and spend endless time concerning an all-night vigil or what have you. But in Nigeria, nobody questions all that. This is what Mr. Peter Obi is talking about. Hate him, like him. He is putting his thoughts and words on the marble. And something has to give. Something has to give. You see, all these productive activities that Pastor Iren is talking about, whether churches are establishing schools, universities, what have you, at the end of the day, they are run for profit. And the church members who pay tithes through, the seed money for some of these gargantuan projects that churches embark upon. Members of the laity there, the ordinary folks in the church, are not even usually able to afford going to universities and the projects embarked upon by the churches. Even when they say they build guest houses, how many of their church members can patronize? Because it's always out of the reach of the poor. This is the point, Ola.
Yeah, that makes sense, sir. I'm absolutely on the same page with you. I know you said he made some good arguments. His arguments are completely out of context. They were not relevant to what Peter Obi was trying to say.
Well, there is always some paymaster somewhere driving all this. The puppeteer, the stringers are where they are. So some of these comments must be made so that they would report back to their masters that, oh, did you see us today? We tackled Peter Obi again.
Yeah.
Yes.
His comment would have been perfect for a person who is having doubts. They're about to lose their faith in Jesus. And,
this is it.
And they're going through a personal life crisis. And you're saying, never let anything take you out of your faith.
That's right.
That is comment.
But church attendance, somebody is telling lies to us here. I know.
We know it's not Peter Obi. Can we stop?
It's not Peter Obi. Yes. Absolutely, is a Pastor Iren here.
Of course,
because it doesn't seem to get it. Does he know how many Nigerians will go on the hills or the mountains to go and get infected with malaria? What's it called? Bug bites that could give a debilitating.
Chief, what's sad? You know what's sad about that?
Yeah,
is that I really do think he meant his argument. He's also a product of that same environment. When they argue these things, they mean it. That's actually the saddest part about it.
Did you hear the position of a well-respected man, former professor at Federal University of Technology, Akure, who escaped being killed? An attempt to be killed. He would have been killed by Fulani headsmen. Dr. Fakinlede. You know what he told me in New Jersey about a year and a half ago, during the 70th birthday celebration of your dad? He said Nigeria is such a place, no matter intellectually endowed you are, one nincompoop, one idiot in the name of, one fool in the name of religion,
right,
with your PhD can turn you to a puppet. Yeah. And you will be working on your brain.
Yes.
You would have been completely
and there's a lot of that. There's a lot of that. There's so many people.
That is what that country does.
Personally, that very educated, smart, intelligent people. But when you
go close to them. Go close to them. What you can do for the vast majority of humanity, in spite of you're not wearing your religion on your sleeve, your spirituality is not on your sleeve, yet you are deeply spiritual. What you can do for ordinary folks, these people, they cannot do for anybody outside their nucleus family.
Is the power of the mind. You can educate. The mind is a terrible thing to waste. It's just what it is, unfortunately.
Yeah, but you see Nigerians when they ought to be in their offices doing something, earning that wage.
No. Are you back?
You see them, which is a big sin. They will not go to that work. They will be somewhere on the mountain. You say what?
Are you there? Yeah,
I'm here.
I lost you for a second. Yeah, go ahead.
No. You will see them on the mountain praying, getting bug bites that will lead to malaria and other debilitating diseases.
So Peter Obi is talking more systemic issues and he's busy talking about his personal faith life. Like, come on, like Jesus. Okay.
It's a system. It's a system. For example, I was watching one production by Hamzat Oriyomi of Agidigbo FM in Ibadan. You know, this is a pro bono thing he does. The kind of ombudsman and people, and that's why I brought a complaint against one Akewu Shola from Shaki. If you saw the systemic attack that was coming against that lady, even people in her family, even when it's obvious that she's been violated by Akewu Shola, people in her family did a video to denounce her that she has mental problem.
Yeah, we're not talking about Nigerians, Nigerian men. We're not talking about your personal faith. Okay,
this is it.
We're not talking about your personal faith. We're talking about a system that thrives.
A systemic failure.
People will have less time for certain bullshit. Period. Excuse me.
Yeah, people pursue all kinds of gullible stuff instead of productive.
And we're not calling video BS.
Yes.
We're saying there are many other form of BS that goes along with such system. As you see what are inside the video, some people are on the streets robbing somebody. Do you not understand? Jesus.
This is what it is. This is what it is. Thank you, Ola.
Oh my God. Everything is not about your personal faith. No, everything's about Jesus. You see how you lie to yourself? You're dealing with that.
Look at one pastor, Victor Adenekon or Adelekon, whatever, in Ibadan. You know, that was sodomizing people, underage individuals.
Allegedly.
Systematic. They won't speak about those things because they will quote for you from the Bible. And of course, they are not usually right. They say, touch not. Yeah, they say, touch not my anointed.
Yeah,
and do my prophet. But your prophet is harming the society. It's harming individuals.
Anyway, you got me heated on that one. Hallelujah to your personal faith, but that's not what the conversation is about.
That's right. That's right. It's redemption for humanity. This is what humanity that is, I mean, on the ground in Nigeria. You got it? It's nothing personal.
It's nothing personal. Jesus.
That's it.
He just got defensive. That's just what that was. Or just rant, honestly. Do us a favor, hit the like button, share, subscribe, follow, join the conversation. We'd like to know what your thoughts are. Please join the conversation. At one point I did feel like religion was bad, but now I've changed my position to it's not necessarily bad, it's useful.
Let me tell you one thing.
I wanted to finish that statement. It's not necessarily bad. It's good for society, but only to a certain. There's limitations to that when we're having these conversations, and we need to start identifying what those limitations are. Go ahead, sir.
Now, studies have shown, and especially when Europe was moving away from its medieval civilization, you know, all the shenanigans of the church, wherever you pursue extreme agenda, whether it's in the church or in the mosque, you talk of Islamic fundamentalism. So also you have that of Christians too. So when Calvin, the well-known Christian John Calvin, when he started his church, his movement, something that is known today as evangelical, Pentecostal, what have you, in Geneva, you know, a child raised his voice. Go and research this. A child raised his voice on his father. You know the sentence? Beheading. Does that tell you something about the Taliban? Beheading was the thing. And as the church, had done so much harm to itself, popes getting involved in debauchery, all kinds of arts that would amount to indulgences, something that was denounced by Martin Luther, not Martin Luther King Jr., Martin Luther the Reformer. Now, the church entered, or the world entered into the age of enlightenment, and you saw philosophers, Immanuel Kant, so on and so forth. They were denouncing so much and coming out with scientific proof. Isaac Newton, Although Isaac Newton remained a Christian, was buried as a Christian, but again, his discovery of light had cast so much doubt on the position being taken about about the world, creation, and God. So emerged people like Nietzsche, the French infidel, who wrote Zarathustra and was arguing about the evolution of the Superman that must, do more than what man has done, because in his ignorance fell, apes evolved into mankind, and that mankind, what do you want to evolve into? And so this thing got so chaotic, and everybody was imagining that what will happen. They turned against the church, they turned against organized religion. These philosophers, at the end of the day, their children were becoming all kinds of miscreants, misfits in the society. You know where they turn to again, philosophers? They turn to the church to get salvation for their children. So nobody is arguing that the religion should be discarded altogether. Exactly. No, but strike a balance. Strike a balance. This is what we are saying.
Yeah.
So if you know, as it's often said, man, know thyself.
Thank you so much. Hit the like button, share, subscribe, join the conversation, follow everywhere. Hopefully you've been enlightened, educated. We'll see you on the next edition. Take care. Bye for now.